Hello, everybody. This is SOFIA Mona Lisa of the Golden Rays Center and the Rose Wheel Mystery School. And I'm so excited that you're here with me today for our January Venus Gate activation. Now, of course, the Venus Gate activation is tomorrow, January 23rd, but we're doing our ceremony today, Sunday, January 22nd. And with this gate activation, we will be having the 5th strand of DNA repaired, reconnected between the 5th strand of DNA and your divine template, which is already online, and the 5th strand of DNA in your physical body, which is dormant. So when you repair them, that dormant strand of DNA in your 5th body becomes activated and online. And of course, that opens up a whole bunch of spiritual gifts for you. And because this gate activation is happening at the sacral chakra, the gate of creation, Mary Magdalene has generously agreed to share space with us, share sacred space with us. And Carol Billets will be doing that channeling for us later on in the hour. So let's go on to the next slide here. Okay, so the Venus temple that's being invoked for this 5th strand of DNA is the Sedona Venus temple. And if you were with us when we worked with the Sedona Venus temple, when we were doing the light codes installation, you'll recognize this picture. This is the Angel Valley Labyrinth, and it sits at the foot of this knoll right here, and it's in Sedona. So that's the Venus temple. Now, for those of us that are participating, we already know that we activated all 12 strands of DNA at that resurrection point in October. But for those of you who are really still working with the linear timeline, which is perfectly fine, you can travel to this Venus temple in your etheric body to do that work. And I'll give you some resources for that in a minute. For the rest of us that are here, remember this. Remember that your multi-dimensional self is infinite. It's also eternal. But there is a part of your multi-dimensional self that is right now present at this Venus temple. So you can feel into the energy of that Venus temple as we're doing our work here today. And of course, we'll be invoking sacred space later. And when we do that, we will be invoking the guardians of this Venus temple. And the guardians of this Venus temple are the seraphim, the celestial beings. So you may, being conscious of your multidimensional self and the part of you that is present now at that Sedona Venus temple, may even already feel the presence of these celestial beings around you right now. So for those of you that are wanting to do, oops, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, sorry. This is where we are in the activation of our 12 strands of DNA through this Capricorn goddess ascent journey. So for those of you that were with us last month, remember we did that 4th strand of DNA activation. Here we are in January, the gate activation at the sacral chakra. The 5th strand of DNA that's being brought online. And it's through this sacral chakra that we have access to the realm of the daughter aspect of Sophia and the divine gifts of ahimsa consciousness. Ahimsa is a Sanskrit word, and it means non-violence. And non-violence is love in understanding. So that's where we are in this ascent journey and in the journey of activating the 12 strands of DNA. Now, for those of you that are going to be, oh, I'm still getting ahead of myself. Okay. When we're activating these strands of DNA, we are using quantum crystal quartz technology. And I've described before how this particular quartz crystal has a Christ end and a Sophia end, and how that, where those angles meet, you have access to what's called the eye of the crystal, which is really giving you access to that 0 point field where you can get into the unified source field, the quantum field. And so this actually activates the divine love frequency, which is the same frequency that is the manifestation of this union of Christ and Sophia. And I will be making a reference to a video whose link I will give you that will share all the information around this technology and how to use that technology if you choose to do so. Okay, here we go. This is the screen that I've waiting to come up. So these are the resources that I am offering for those of you that would like to actually travel to the Sedona Venus temple. I'm going to be putting a link below to that October 22nd resurrection ceremony. The reason I'm providing that is because it explains the quantum crystal technology and how to utilize it. And then when you get into the ceremonial piece, you can use what I do in that ceremony as a script for yourself, so that when you're in your own ceremonial space, you can use that script for activating the 5th strand of DNA. Now, what's really potent about this resurrection ceremony, and adds a whole nother layer, is that ceremony also includes a song by Maria Hartsong, which activates the DNA strands in terms of coming online, as well as, bringing your crystal light body online. So this is a huge resource for you to use when you're preparing to set up your own ceremonial space to travel to Sedona Venus temple. So I will be also including the link to this video, the Sedona Venus Temple Light Codes activation ceremony, because it's in that ceremony that not only do I provide a lot of information about the Sedona Venus Temple in particular, but again, the ceremonial piece can offer you a script that you can use as a template for navigating yourself to that Sedona Venus temple in your etheric body and working with those Venus temple guardians. And then, because of the fact that we are having this gate activation at the sacral chakra, which is giving us access to that daughter aspect of Sophia. If you would like to know more about the daughter aspect of Sophia, I'll include a link to my Sacred Feminine class where we talked about that daughter aspect of Sophia. So all of these resources will help you in setting up your own ceremonial space and traveling to the Sedona Venus Temple and bringing your 5th strand of DNA online. And I hope you'll find that useful. All the links will be in the description box below. Now, these are the aspects that will be in the sky tomorrow when we have that Venus gate activation. The sacral chakra is also known as the gate of creation. And we know when we're having a gate activation because Venus and Moon are together. It's called a conjunction together in the sky. And it just so happens that this month, Saturnia is standing right there with Moon and Venus. And that's happening at 25 degrees of Aquarius. Now, for Maureen and I, who just had a solar return and have a whole new ascension path for this year, I should point out that this gate activation is happening on our solar Saturnia. So this is a huge empowerment and initiation for us, Maureen, and anybody else who's had a recent solar return. Now, there's some really incredible aspects going on in the sky tomorrow. We've got a grand air trine. What I want to bring to your attention is I've started using some new luminary bodies this year. I do that every year. I add a few and take a few away because I like to feel into different frequencies. And I mean, they're all activating us simultaneously, but there's tens of thousands of luminary bodies. And so you got to you know, kind of pick which your favorite marbles you want to play with, right? And so this year I have added Mother Mary. I have added Maria Salome. I have added Sara, and I have added the goddess Epona. And I'm not going to go into all of that right now, but I will tell you, I've done another video today, which I will mention later. And in that video, I talk about those aspects and how it just so happened to be that they're so synchronistically aligned with the work that we'll be doing this year. So a lot of aspects going on. If you have a DNA activation reading done, we'll go into much more about all of this and how your chart is being activated and what spiritual gifts are being brought online through this DNA activation. Now, what does this gate of creation activation have to do with in terms of like an overarching theme, right? Just to give you something to put your teeth into without going into all the details of all of those aspects. What's really spectacular, and again, this ties into the work that we'll be doing this year, and it ties into that video that I'm going to mention in just a minute that I did today, which is a companion piece to this. What's happening is that our sacral chakra is being opened up, because by opening up this sacral chakra, it's going to allow us to birth into our physical bodies, our sacred vessel, more of our multidimensional self, the light of our multidimensional self than we've ever held on this planet before. And this opening up of our sacral chakra to birth our multidimensional self, you can kind of relate to in an analogous way as being very similar to when a woman is getting ready to give birth, and what happens is the cervix begins to dilate to open up for that baby to come through the birth canal. So this is, in terms of a grand theme, what's happening at this gate of creation activation. And isn't it interesting, isn't it synchronistic that it's the sacral chakra, the seat of your sacred sexual power, that gate of creation where all of that goes on. You cannot make it up, the way that all of this comes together. This what we're seeing is the cosmic dance, the unfolding of the cosmic dance, when all of these pieces synchronistically come together. Okay, this is the video that I did today. It's called Seeding the New Jerusalem. And for those of you that were present at the Inanna Underworld support group in November, I kind of revealed then that I was already beginning to get downloads around the New Jerusalem. And I wasn't even sure then all of the pieces, what it was going to look like when I would start talking about it, but I kind of gave you a heads up. This is the first big piece, this video, in terms of bringing in this information about seeding the New Jerusalem. And it has to do with 5 cosmic events that we are right now today in the middle of. The first cosmic event started on the 20th. Today is the 22nd. So that would have been Friday. Yesterday, the 21st, was the new moon in Aquarius. Today, we've got Uranus stationing direct. Uranus is the Lord of Aquarius, so that's significant. Tomorrow, of course, that Venus gate activation, which is happening in Aquarius, and then another event that's happening on Tuesday. These 5 cosmic events that are just saturated with this Aquarian energy, this Uranus energy together, paint a picture that tells me that this is all about seeding that new Jerusalem consciousness, and especially the new moon in Aquarius yesterday, and how it's preparing us for the gate activation and that birthing of our multidimensional self through our sacral chakra is another piece of that. So this is definitely a companion piece, and the link to this video is below. And to get the most out of what's happening right now with this ceremony, I really encourage you to watch that video. And if you recall, in November, when I said I was getting this information about the New Jerusalem, I told you that I asked my guides, what is the New Jerusalem? And they said it's the full-on activation of your light body. And so I love this image because to me, it's a beautiful depiction of that full-on activation of the light body. And now I understand why we're doing these DNA activations, bringing all of these strands of DNA online, because when all of these strands of DNA are online, we each will have become the New Jerusalem. And I talk about that in this video. So it's a really important companion piece. Okay, so that's the introductory piece. Carol should be joining us in just a minute, but let's go ahead and settle into our bodies. Should be easy today because Uranus is direct in Taurus, and Taurus is all about embodiment, grounding into your body, grounding into our beautiful earth, our earth mother known as Gaia. So just take a few breaths, be aware of that part of yourself that's in that Sedona Venus temple, and I will go ahead and call in our sacred space. So I claim this space for the Sophia Christ consciousness, and I call in the cosmic Sophia as divine wisdom and Mary Magdalene, the embodiment of Sophia consciousness. I call in the cosmic Christ as divine will and Yeshua, the embodiment of Christ consciousness. I call in the Arcturian and Pleiadian star beings who have been working with us for this entire galactic New Earth project that's started last January. Here we are, a year into this galactic New Earth project, and have been present at all of these Venus temples in support of this project. For everybody here, and everybody who will be joining us at some time in the linear future, we know that this is all happening now in the eternal now space. And so for all of us, I call in our mentorship councils, our galactic teams, and our spirit allies. And I call in the Venus temple guardians to be present with us, the Seraphim. And so now that we have called in and established our sacred space, I am going to take us off the screen share so that we can have the message from Mary Magdalene that Carol is going to be channeling for us today. So let me stop the share and let me change my view to gallery. Let me put on my glasses. There she is. There's Carol. Oh, and there's Helen. Wow. Okay. So here we all are. So Carol, if you can unmute yourself, and I am going to change the view back to speaker view. And whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and begin to bring forth the message from Mary Magdalene. Now, I will tell you that I had already asked Carol if she could invite Mary Magdalene to specifically speak to us about the role of the priestess, because Mary Magdalene is a priestess of Isis, and specifically the significance of sacred sexuality. So whatever Mary Magdalene shares today will be an absolute gift. But I did just wanted to let you know that I did ask Carol if the Magdalene might possibly speak to those subjects as well. So whenever you're ready, Carol, go right ahead.
We not only come in with the Magdalene, but the priestess order of the Isis Council, and the energy of the Isis. There is a lineage that all females carry, the lineage of the sacred priestess. Isis was one of the mentors of honoring your female priestess empowerment. As a side note, we will say that in many of the Isis temples, the sexuality was in honoring your power as a female, your spirituality as a female. Your sexuality is intertwined with your spirituality as a whole priestess, as a whole empowered woman. There is not just sexuality. If sexuality is used in a whole, balanced perspective as a priestess, it is intertwined with spirituality. It is intertwined with the balance of connecting to the Gaia, of connecting to the sky. Sexuality is just a string of the harp that is a female. If you would see a female as a range of notes, as a range of strings, each one of them bringing forth different tones, different vibrations: mother, nurturer, daughter, healer, spiritual, sexual. We would have you think of the female not only as a priestess, but as a multidimensional, multi-stringed instrument that is capable of any time to bring forth one note, a melody of notes, a combination, a symphony, if you will, of female mysticism, of female spirituality. We are not just one thing. We have never been just one thing. In the role of being a disciple, of being a teacher myself of the words, there is a strong energy coming in. We encourage you to feel, hear it. It is very seldom that the energy rustles, makes the trees move, comes into this space. So the fact that Mother Nature, Gaia, is also joining this time, is also bringing forth the natural connection that women have to Gaia. There are so many parts to females, so many dimensions, so many abilities. I carried forth all magical. Instruments not only of God, Mother, Father, the Goddess, the earth, the cosmos. We are whole vibrational creators ourselves. So yes, even though we are a priestess, yes, even though we are sexual, yes, we are a healer of so many things. Above and encapsulating this is our ability to create. Women not only create, not only heal, not only teach. Our sexuality gives birth to more. The creaking that you hear is a tree. So if you will hear a creaking is a tea. The tree is also speaking at this time. Back to females back to priestess teaching. We come back again to the visualization of a harp, different strings, different melodies. What we would say to you as a group of females is that you are a magnificent tool within yourself that is capable of playing one note at a time, several notes, symphonies. You are capable of bringing magic within yourself. It is all interconnected. The priestess, the daughter, the mother, the sexuality. What we are saying to you is that you are a creator of much within yourself, without of yourself. You are a magnificent, vibrating source of life that is capable of manifesting, calling in, bringing in, summoning the light. You are each divine creatures that carry so many creations, so much manifestation. So while yes, this is about sexuality, it is more than just sexuality, because you are more than just a sexual being. This sexuality is combined, connected to your ability to create. Females pull in the vibration of creation, which is why the healing vibration naturally comes from them. Since we heal, create, manifest, it all comes together within yourself. So we would say, for your advice for this time and this space for each of you, whether it's out, pulling in your energy from the sky, pulling in the support from Mother Gaia, pulling in the cleansing and clearing wind. Not want to have room for what you need. You all have abilities. And once again, this ability is brought forth by going out of Mother Gaia, connecting in whatever way, because we all are separate pieces of the puzzle. Whether it's a sky, whether it's a moon, whether it's a star, whether it's pulling up energy, whether it's pulling in energy, whether it's pulling in light. Our message to you is, you are sacred beings of light, love, teaching, healing, sexuality, creation. It's beautiful. You are a blessed being. Let me say this again. You are a blessed being. Are there any questions?
So at this time, if anybody has any questions for Mary Magdalene, just unmute yourself, ask your questions.
Oh, I can't hear you.
Let me check my volume. The volume is up. My mic is on. So I'm just telling the ladies here that if anyone has a question for Mary Magdalene, to unmute themselves to ask the question. I know for myself, it was a bit challenging hearing the message because of the wind. But if anybody has any question or something they'd like repeated, please take the opportunity to do that now.
All I'm seeing is a little matrix, so I'm not sure what's happening.
Oh,
Can you unmute yourself?
Yes, I was unmuted. I was unmuted.
Okay.
And
Let me see what I can do. Hold on.
okay, because Maureen does have some questions for you. So I'd like you to be able to hear her.
Got it. I got it. Okay. I got you. Okay. Now say it again, because you literally wanted to little particles of light. I didn't hear anything you said.
oh.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
I just invited everybody to unmute themselves if they have questions. And I know Maureen has questions, so I'm going to pass the baton to her.
Thank you. Yes. What I have been working with at this date particularly is the part when a woman holds her blood, when she no longer creates life. Our culture tells us that sexually there is no point. There is no enjoyment. There is no pleasure. And I don't believe that. I believe that that is a complete distortion of a woman's role in as being a part of Sophia, the divine Sophia, part of the whole woman. So what I would like to know is, how can we restore that part of a woman once she becomes a crone, so to speak? It's very important, I think, to restore that in our culture.
She is saying that it is not a point of restoring, because when you leave the era of childbirth, you become into the era of a wise woman, and you leave behind the years of tending to families and begin the years of tending to the community, to the universe, and to your own spirituality. So while you're beginning to bloom as a female having a family, you fully bloom into magnificence as a wise woman that is able to have the experience of her whole lifetime, that has the gamut of music behind her. And she is more valuable in that she has experienced everything and is at the point not of being a crone, but of being a wise woman, of being a teacher, of being a true healer, and that her energy emanates from her life core vibration. She no longer is needed to bring forth children, but she is needed to bring forth wisdom, experience, expansion, and spirituality in a way that no other person in that life spectrum can be. That is why there are cultures that revere the grandparents, that revere the wise woman, because of who and what they have become. Gaia is no longer a young planet. She is in the stage of a wise woman. But let us look at Gaia. She is transforming herself. And in the same way that Gaia is ascending and transforming, and in that way showing the light and the way for all others, so as a wise woman, you have the ability and the experience and the spirituality to also transcend. And an example of spirituality flowering as a lotus. The time of life as a wise woman is beyond valuable. Would you not value the words and teaching of a monk that is old and has been through life? No, you revere it. Would you discard a man who has sat on his entire life seeking God, seeking wisdom, meditating, and others come to him to listen to his words, to listen to what he has experienced? So is this time for you. This is your time to allow the maturing of your vibration, your spirituality, to transcend as Gaia. So if you would not look down as Gaia for transcending, for changing, for elevating, then why would you not hold yourself in the same esteem for elevating, for transcending, for using everything that you have experienced as an example of this is the next stage of wisdom? Does that make sense?
Yes. Beautiful. Thank you so much.
You are valued. Who you are at this time of your life is beyond value.
Thank you so much.
I'm going to ask for Susanna Quintal. She said, can someone ask for me, Mary Magdalene, are you a twin flame? And she has 2 questions. So I'll let Mary
A
Magdalene.
twin flame of Yeshua?
Well, that's what I thought she was, but I wanted to give Mary Magdalene the opportunity to say that. She's laughing. She's laughing at me.
Yes, she says she is a twin
Of
flame
herself. Okay. All right. That works. Okay.
He
So
said Yeshua is also a twin flame of his whole being. When we elevate our consciousness, we are whole within ourselves. And so as we grow and find twin flames and find twin mates and find soul groups, as we ascend into the sanctity of our own light, we become whole.
Right. And her second question of the Magdalene is, how can we embody the loving compassion you had?
Love yourself,
Love
value yourself, cherish yourself. Be aware that your words carry the truth of who you are. And when you speak, also hear your truth, also hear your vibration. It is through your own respect, caring, and love of your growth, of your light that brings you to that point. It is self-love, self-care.
Okay. She typed in one more question. So Mary Magdalene, how do we get your strength to overcome shame? I think she just gave you the answer, but I'll let her speak.
There is no shame in any aspect of ourselves.
Nope.
We have lessons, we have obstacles. We are not pieces of shame. We are the wind that goes through the forest. We may knock a tree down. There is no shame in knocking a tree down. It is part of who we are. Please do not feel shame for who you are or what you have done. Acknowledge that we are growing. Acknowledge that this is part of the process and none of us is perfect. Please give yourself the love that I would give you if I was standing in front of you. Please hold you, hug yourself, knowing that I love and cherish you.
Thank you. Susanna says that she is crying. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You are loved and you are never alone.
That there's that Lucifer consciousness of separation that we always, sometimes, we don't always, we often, and our societal issues. And that's part of what we're going through right now, I think. You know, my question of the Magdalene is very similar to what Susanna asked. I have something that is coming up for me that I'm about ready to act on. And my heart tells me it's the right thing to do. And I'm not sure my soul agrees.
So this is what she's telling me. I'm just gonna repeat it because I'm not sure what, sometimes when they talk. So I'm gonna just repeat it.
Sure.
So what she's saying, and this is to you, what she wants you to do is when you wake up after you're settled, because she says as we age, we need a moment to settle. She wants you to have paper, pen, just begin writing. And she goes right to her, right to Yeshua, and say, I am writing to connect with my higher self. I am writing to connect with my highest good. I am looking for the highest and best step forward. I'm looking for the next best forward. So what she's saying to me is that when you write to your higher self, to Mary Magdalene, what you are looking for is acknowledgement of what is the next step, because life is a series of steps. So by writing, you are engaging a part of your mind that may be talking to you. And it is something to engage your mind and allow your unconscious and subconscious and higher self to come through. Is a practice that if you would like Yeshua or the Magdalene to join, please do at the same time every day, so that we know when you are ready to sit down, so that we can be present. Of course, many people request Archangel Michael to be behind them when they start writing. What only condition or request that we have is that you do it at the same time. Be 5 minutes, can be 7 minutes, can be 10 minutes, no more than 15. It is to allow you to begin to access the next step that is for your highest good. And by writing, you are engaging parts of your mind that may be talking to you in a way that you need to listen to. What we are suggesting to you is a way for you to access your higher vibrational self. It will
Thank
be
you.
slow at first, but please do it daily. And we will say within 7 to 10 days, you will begin to feel a more fluent flow, but it will take several days for the flow. And you will notice a change. She's saying you will notice a change in the writing. There will be a definite change in the writing. If you're like printing, you'll go to writing. If you're writing, we'll go to printing. The wording will be different. The phrasing will be different. It will come, but allow yourself to have time to allow your body to get into that space. And she says, is that clear what she's
Oh,
speaking
absolutely.
to you about? Okay.
Absolutely.
She says that is what she is suggesting for your next step.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
So at this time, I mean, this has just been a wealth of information. At this time, Susan, Helen, I don't know if there's anything that you would like to speak to or ask Mary Magdalene, but if you would, please do that now, and then we'll have Mary Magdalene kind of wrap up her message to us.
I have a question for Mary Magdalene. I too am looking to make some further changes as I move forward, and I felt the same feeling for myself to do the same writing, because I meditate every morning when I get up. So it just seemed the right thing to do for myself to get the answers in clarity of what I want. Is that true?
Yes. Yes. She's saying yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
For some reason, she's saying, do you have a blue pen?
I
A
do.
blue. Okay. For some reason, she wants you to use that. I'm not sure why.
Okay. I've got one. Thank you.
Okay. I have no reason why. That's what she asked. Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry. She said also that you will soon find a type of feather around you, and will be a natural drop feather, and to please put that by you when you write, to allow your thoughts to take flight and allow that winged. For some reason, she wants the feather by you. It will help some type of connection with you.
Thank you.
Never know what they say that for. And I'm seeing, for some reason, I'm seeing a white feather, a very fluffy white feather.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It came to me, and I don't know where it comes from, but it's just something that just dropped in my head. The reason for the blue, to me, from what I'm gathering, is because blue is the it's the willingness to surrender to source. It's the surrendering to the will of God or source, whatever you want to call it, the goddess, whatever, it doesn't matter what you call it, but it's that's what blue represents, is surrendering. That's why to me, that's the blue. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. It doesn't matter, but that's what came to my brain.
She's just, I don't know. Okay, so I don't know why she's doing this, so I'm just gonna say what she's doing because I don't understand them all the time. So what she has a very thin, extremely thin blue piece of fabric, the kind that you can see through, and she's smiling and she's holding it up and covering her face so that you can still see her, but you have to look through the blue to see her.
You are my people. Sorry.
All right, Helen, is there anything you'd like to speak to or ask the Magdalene about?
I'm fine. I'm just getting the chills over the whole conversation because I do all those things. Oh, gosh.
Thank you, Helen. I can completely relate to you. Carol, if you'd like to bring us any closure around anything else that the Magdalene would like to share, I'd greatly appreciate it.
I don't know why she's saying this. I'm just going to repeat what she's saying. Our life is a pathway up a mountain, through boulder fields, through forests, pleasant patches, stormy patches. As we get past a certain point, climbing a mountain, going over the obstacles and struggles, there will become a point as we age that we can begin to appreciate and experience the view of where we've gone, where we've been. Appreciate the view of where you are in life.
Okay, I'm going to stop the share now. I mean, I'm going to go back to the sharing the screen. I'm a little spaced out, as always happens when these high frequencies come through. Hopefully I'm unmuted. So let me make sure I'm unmuted. Just Carol, am I unmuted? Give me a thumbs up if I am. Okay.
You're good.
Okay, so now we're going to go into the sharing circle about, you know, the Magdalene's message, what everybody asked, what the responses were. There's something hopefully you're okay with. I'd like to start with. So let me stop the share again and let me bring this back into gallery view. So what I would like to say is thank you, Susanna, about the question around shame, because I will tell you, and it never occurred to me, I'm sorry, my hair's like in my face and just, it never occurred to me, the connection on the day that I left to go to LA. There was an event that happened in my life that triggered me in such a way that I felt extremely shamed by what was said to me. And then a couple of days later in LA, again, had an event where I once again felt shamed. And then after I came home from LA, had another experience where I felt shamed. And I was consciously aware that these feelings of being shamed or feeling shamed were coming up. It never occurred to me that it was related to the activation of this gate of creation, this sacral chakra activation. And I will tell you, ladies, look around. It is no mistake that everybody present is a crone, is a sage, is a wise woman. And for women especially, because of the wounding of the patriarchy, most of our shaming is seeded through our sacral chakra. We are shamed in terms of our bodies. We are shamed when we start menstruation. We are shamed through our sexuality. And so, Susanna, I want to bow to you and thank you for bringing up this question for the Magdalene to speak to, because I just had this huge aha and paradigm shift around that. So that's my piece of sharing. And I invite each of you to just unmute yourselves, whatever you'd like to share around this experience with the Magdalene and her message and the questions of the other women, of being a crone at this stage of life, of being the sage. You know, crone itself as a name has such negative connotation. It's like the weazened up haggard witch, you know, it's not the glorious sage wise woman. And so anything that you'd like to share around this, around sacred sexuality, isn't it interesting, Maureen, that we just had a conversation on our birthdays earlier this month about sacred sexuality, and then all of this came up. I mean, it's just, yes, it is mind-blowing. So open your mics and please use this time to have a beautiful sharing session.
I'm one who is, I don't know, it's not my first thing, but after we stop at, you know, as I don't know that everybody has gone past, you know, having their menses anymore, but I haven't, and I just really enjoy the fact that I don't. Okay. But it's like, yeah, it's like very freeing. I don't have to buy any of that stuff anymore. And, you know, I think it's hysterical on the Medicare stuff that they offer sanitary napkins. I'm going, why? I'm 65. Most people in this group are 65 years old and on your Medicare or whatever. And why do they offer that? It's like, that doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, I should be great. I am grateful. And I'm just now starting to get to being comfortable with enjoying the sexuality that I actually have. I've never really minded being a woman. I've actually enjoyed being a woman. I'm female, but I don't mind that. The creation I could do without raising children. I'm good with that. That's what I had. That's why I do pet sitting, because I get to baby those, you know. But it's just, and our society has conditioned us and shamed us about all of it. And it's not that you have anything to be, it's like, you know, I look at the kids today when I was teaching, which I don't do anymore, but at least not in the school system. But it's like, and while there is no shame in being honest and open about the fact that, okay, well, I'm having my cycle right now, it's also something that's not respected either by our society. And so for me, it's like, okay, well, I mean, that's fine that you're doing that. And it doesn't bother me, but that's also something private to me, because that's something that's more, it should be something that you respect, and you don't need to blurt that out to everybody and their brother that that's what you're on right now, you know. But we seem to have, the pendulum has swung very far in one direction. I know it's coming back, and it's going to find its balance, because that's where you want it to be. But right now we were very, 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 very constricted, and now we've become very, very loose, and it's coming back. And it's about that balance and everything. And it's, so I'm just like, never to have a period again to me is fine. I don't care. I don't have to have it. I'm not dried up and shriveled up. At least I don't think I look that way yet. You know, I might eventually. I may become a prune. You never know. But I don't think so. I have good genes. I have really good biological genes. I don't look my age. I feel good about that, you know, because I'm 10 years older than Sophia. Almost, anyway, close to it. But it's like, okay, but it is about enjoying who we are as women. And we hold a unique spot, a service. Without women, there is no perpetuation of life in the human race. And we need to come to the point of appreciating the male portion of us as well. That because the men in our society also provide. They provide the sperm to fertilize the egg, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. And so that's all I'm going to say about that. But it's like, this has just really been, and Susanna, thank you for bringing those questions. Those are very good questions, because there wasn't anything that I would have brought up necessarily, but I brought other stuff up, which I'm sure, you know, Mary Magdalene was probably laughing at some of my questions, you know. That's okay. We all have a sense of humor. You know, I like the fact that she said that she was, to its answer to Susanna's question, that she was a twin flame to herself. And that's what we need to be, is a twin flame to ourselves. And we aren't. And that's where that loving ourselves, total, completely being in love with ourselves comes from, to me. That's my take on it. So I'll give up the floor now that I've said my say.
Well, I just want to speak to the fact that this shaming theme that we're discussing, that has really been spotlighted here. Be aware, ladies, this is one more way, and it's a subtle way, because people don't make the connection. It is one more way that the patriarchy has disempowered women, has disempowered the sacred feminine. And so just be aware of that. I want to tell you that Susanna has sent me a message regarding this shaming issue. She says she grew up in a wheelchair, and society thinks that they do not have sexual desire, or look at our parents. Look at our partners like they are violating an angel, and that they live that collective shame. Now, see, that's a consciousness that I am actually completely oblivious to, because of course I haven't lived that. So thank you, Susanna, for sharing that piece of that collective shame consciousness with us, to bring the light to that. That's really brave of you, courageous of you, to step into your vulnerability and share that with us. So thank you. Is there anything else anybody would like to share around the message from Mary Magdalene, or anything that anybody asked of her and what she had to say in response? Okay, so if everybody's feeling complete, just give me a thumbs up. So
I have just one thing to say. Yeah, Mary Magdalene really helped me to kick it up a notch, so we say, you know, and to get my focus around the power of the older woman. And what that shows me is that when we understand and grasp our fullness, and if men, I haven't seen this yet, but if men in our society begin to feel shame because of the general patriarchy, if they are a part of the collective, they're going to feel it. They just haven't got to the point where they acknowledge it yet. Some have, of course, but most, I would say, have not. We need to be whole at that point. We need to be able to reflect what Mary Magdalene told us about ourselves, and to value and to help them through the same thing we're going through, feeling that shame. And that's all I wanted to say. And I'm so grateful for this circle and for Mary Magdalene. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Maureen. Susan, are you wanting?
Yeah, I wanted to unmute. So, wow. Wow. All right. So this was perfect from everything I was reading in a different book that really seemingly had nothing to do with this, but yet it did. Because I was reading something about network marketing. But when it's network marketing, as someone said, it is about selling yourself. Because who wants to be around somebody that they couldn't trust or believe in? So it's the only way they know of that you can do self-discovery and get paid to do it. And when I was reading this and then hearing this, that's where I am going, thank God I'm 72, know who I am. I've always known who I am, but just as something that was always said to me, I swear to God, it didn't matter how old I was, oh, you're just a kid. When I was 30, oh, you're just a kid. I was 40, oh, you're just a kid. When I was 50, oh, you're just a kid. I was 60, oh, you're just a kid. Finally, I've not heard anybody say it to me since I've been hit 65 to 72. And I thought, yes, maybe now, not only can I go, I've been telling you, I know what the hell I'm talking about. I've known it since I was a kid. And now maybe you'll just open up your ears and listen. So thank you for allowing me to be an older goddess who is having other people acknowledge where they've been all along.
Beautiful.
Thank you. I love you guys. Thank you for adopting me in on my walk a month ago around the lake. You guys made me laugh so much. I so appreciated that day, even though you got bumped off, Sophia, Mona Lisa, and because of that electrical thing. I just said, oh my God, I'm home. This is great. Thank you.
Well, we're so happy to have you here. And as I told Susanna, so happy to have her here. The presence of each of you in this sacred circle is a divine gift for us and for everyone that will see this video. Okay, so if we're complete with the sharing, give me a thumbs up so I don't cut anybody off. I want everybody to have time and space. Okay, let me go back to my slides here. And so where are we now? Hold on a second. Okay, questions and answers. So I'm just gonna, this is your last opportunity. I'm gonna stop the share. Does anybody have any final questions or questions that may have come into their awareness? You know, sometimes that happens, like, oh, I wanted to ask about this. So this is the final opportunity to do that. So, okay, so I'm going to go back to my slides. Oh, I do. Actually, I have a question. And Carol, this, I don't know, I'm sure the Magdalene is still present with you. And so this is probably a question for the Magdalene, but anyone else that would like to contribute as well is welcome. So in that companion video that I did, Seeding the New Jerusalem, there's a big piece in there about Magdalene as a priestess of sacred sexuality. And I reference an article that I read recently. And in the article, it mentions that Magdalene, as a priestess of sacred sexuality, is the veiled Isis that is connected to the earth, that is in the as below, and that Mother Mary is the unveiled Isis that is in the as above, that you have to get through the veiled Isis. You have to connect with the veiled Isis to reach the unveiled Isis. Okay. This is my question. My question is, once you have become a crone, a sage, is that life transition indicative of having gone from the unveiled Isis, from the veiled Isis to the unveiled Isis? That's my question.
She says it is a process of remembering who you are.
And we are all of it.
Yes.
Yes, Susan, go ahead.
Well, I'd seen Suzanne wrote that she's only 40 something and feels like a fish out of water. My thought was immediately was, honey, you couldn't swim with a better school of fish.
Thank you, Susan, for catching that message from her.
From one Susan to a Suzanne, honey, you just stick with us and you'll be just fine.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Susanna. She says, I also have thought about that they say Isis, Osiris, Magdalene, and Yeshua. And Magdalene is known as a priestess of Isis. And even in the priestess lineage that Maureen and I are part of, we are priestesses of Isis, and we studied the Magdalene, mysteries that were brought through. So, and in my work as an astrologer, I use Isis to represent the cosmic Sophia and Osiris to represent the cosmic Christ, Magdalene to represent the embodiment of Sophia, and Yeshua to represent the embodiment of Christ. So, Susanna, thanks for mentioning that, because there's definitely a connection there. And Carol, is there anything more about that the Magdalene would like to share?
Well, I guess this isn't groundbreaking, but it's what she's saying. She said, just as Yeshua and Buddha and Krishna came and became enlightened masters through their journey of accepting their light of who they were. She says that she is also an enlightened master because she was able to accept the light of who she was. And that is part of the female equation, because you see so many male enlightened masters and male spiritual masters. But she says, as a female, she is a enlightened master, and that she is able to become the light that she is. And so she has broken, she says she has broken the reincarnation cycle, because once you become the light of the source, the light of the God, you don't have to come back. So she goes, all females, all males can feel the presence of Yeshua, Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary. It is just finding a tool that allows you to hear or see clearly, whether it's writing or listening or meditation or being still on the ground. Yeshua, Mary, and all the masters are always there for all of us. If we need them, it is only finding the clearest tool to access them. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Absolutely, it does.
Okay, which leads me to another question. This is good stuff,
This
okay?
is why we have a question and answer part.
And I don't know that it's a question more than just a statement, but it makes me wonder, because it just popped into my little brain. I'll say spirit gave it to me, but I don't know that's for certain. It may just be my own curiosity. But just like Yeshua, when he walked the earth, was now, and I know why he walked the earth, and I understand all that, but for the same similar reasons, not necessarily the same exact reason, but for the similar reason, what Magdalene being who she is, and I'll say is because she still is that why I'm getting the impression is this is why the patriarchy made her a whore in the Bible? Oh, look at her. Look. Okay.
And you,
I got chills. I got full body of chills here. Okay. It's just, okay. Yes, I knew this. I just, there's a part of me that knew this, just like I know, not from my own knowledge, but because someone told me that at some point I was an oracle for a pharaoh who, and this is why I often couch my words, because I don't want to offend, because Pharaoh was very powerful and could kill me if he didn't like what I said. So I learned to do that. I still do that today. I'm getting better about not doing it so much, but I'm not there yet. You
I
see,
have a quick
sometimes-
question for you. Do you
Okay.
have any memories of when you were speaking to the Pharaoh and he got mad at you and he banished you out to the sand and you
Oh,
walked the sand?
I can't say that I do. There's a lot of things that are in
Because
my.
I literally see him pointing and you walking out in the sand with your head thrown back and your shoulders, and you just walked like, fine.
You know, that's kind of my attitude these days. Shut up, Sophia. She's over there laughing. Look at her. It's like, I am kind of getting to that point of, I am who I am, and I don't really give a rat's ass whether you like me or not. And that's, as I've said to some people, I have never read Dale Carnegie's book on how to win friends and influence people. That's just not who I am. And I don't really care to read it. I've read other things. And so it's kind of like my message is one of the things I'm trying to figure out how to do. Okay. And that'll be what I do with my writing thing that I was told I need to do. Okay. Is how do I get the message across? Because I'm supposed to do something, and I think it's supposed to be something that's going to be fairly large eventually. It's not right off the bat, but I'm trying to figure out how to create that, because I tend to be more on the left brain. That's my left side by the way, and less right brain. But I need to bring this more forward, because I'm also from Mars. I'm not from this Earth originally. That was not my original planet. So whatever I come up with over here, I know that this side is going to implement, because that's part of who I am. I'm a get it done person. You come up with something and I'll help you figure out a way to get it done. That's the masculine side of me. And I'm very comfortable with that side of me. The left side, I'm not overly comfortable with. I'm getting better about it, but I'm not 100% there. But it's like, I know that what I'm going to do is I'm going to say this is going to open up a lot of people's eyes to some truths that they have been denying. And we all do it. You know, nobody wants to admit that we were that stupid or that naive. I shouldn't say stupid, because it's not truly what you are, but it's almost like that cancer victim when you get that horrid disease, and that's what we all come in for, because sometimes that's what we're supposed to do when we come into this world, okay, and experience that. Except denial is the very first thing. And so we never want to deny that we never want to admit that we've been so gullible about something. We all know what's happening worldwide. Carol's phone is about ready to get
It's acting
overheated.
up again. Yep.
I gotta say, she's getting overheated again. Okay.
Yep.
Well, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, Gina, but
Go
before
ahead.
Carol loses her connection, I just want to go back to the question that you had. What is
Yes.
why the patriarchy labeled the Magdalene as a prostitute, as a whore? And what
Answered it.
came to me as you said it, and as the Magdalene and Carol affirmed it, is
Right.
that was the seed of the shaming consciousness on this planet. So I just wanted to bring it back around to that
I appreciate that, because
before
I need
Carol
to.
lost her connection.
Yes, I'll stop so that Carol doesn't. Okay.
Okay.
You never know what makes me come and go.
Yeah. Yeah. So does anybody have any other questions, or are we feeling complete in this piece? Just give me a thumbs up if you're feeling complete. Okay, great. Great questions. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for contributing. Let me go back to my slide. All right, so we're done with that piece. All right, so here we go. So next month, February, is going to be the 6th strand of DNA activation. We will be engaging the frequencies at the Venus temple in the Canary Islands. The actual, I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted by the chat, but that's okay. Susanna, thank you for your remarks. Thank you. She said she learned so much. Thank you. I'm so happy you are here. The actual gate activation is happening February 22nd. That gate activation is at the solar plexus chakra, which is known as the portal of personal power. We are going to be having our gathering on the Sunday before, February 19th. And the goddess Lilith, who is a sovereignty goddess, will be coming forward. Carol will be channeling her. And what I love about this synchronicity, when you watch that Seeding the New Jerusalem video, what you discover is that the new moon in Aquarius that just happened 2 days ago, the new moon in Aquarius was standing across the sky from Lilith in Leo. And so I talk a lot about the goddess Lilith in that video. And again, another one of these synchronicities, you can't make it up, you can't plan it, it just all comes together, that next month we'll be having that message from Lilith through Carol. Okay, so that's everything I've got today. Let me just stop the share again, and just I'm really like totally spaced out, so I'm having a hard time navigating the controls here. Let me stop my share again. Look at everybody. You can all unmute yourself. I see my screen like flashing. So I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for being here. Just give you all an opportunity to make any last comments, to say our goodbyes, to embrace each other. So have at it, ladies.
Thank you so much. That's all I can say is thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so
Love
much.
you all. Thank you.
Love you all too. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Mary Magdalene. Thank you. And with that, again, I got to find my controls. I'm a little loopy here. Sorry about this. I totally lost track of everything.
Me too. I'm like, woo.
I know. That's the power of the frequencies that are being brought through this sacred space from us coming together in a circle. And of course, with Carol bringing through Mary Magdalene and everybody who's standing behind Mary Magdalene on the other side that are adding their frequencies.
Just before I go, just to let you know that she's saying we all have our own Magdalene lights within us. So it is not just her here in the light. We all have that within us, and we all bring that light forth when we join. So I'm just a little piece of the puzzle. So we all bring our light forth, and that's what makes this group so special, is that we all have this beautiful light that's showing up.
I see it. It's like totally covering your face again. I love when the light shows up like that to validate everything. Yeah.
So she wants it just like it's all of us. It's not just her right here. It's all of us.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why we're like, whoa, like almost like drunk on the frequency, right?
Better than being drunk on the freeway.
So don't operate any heavy machinery when you walk away today. All right, ladies. See you next
Thank
time.
you.
Love you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.